Okay, guys, welcome to Eat Clean, Get Lean. And this is Monday night. And this is a second time we're doing this presentation for those people who, excuse me, might have missed out last week because everyone was on vacation and we're back from New Year's. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my slide deck here. But the goal of this program is for the next 12 weeks is we're going to spend it in a coaching relationship. I'm going to teach you how to eat so that you can balance out your hormones and boost your metabolism and lose stored body fat and reconcile chronic disease and get yourself feeling fit and well and happy and healthy. And we're going to make it as easy as possible because we're going to try to eliminate all the potholes. We've done this now the third time. We've had tremendous success with our clients from going back to last summer, through the winter, through the holidays. And now we want to offer that ability to coach and mentor you. But the first thing we want to talk about is escaping the diet trap. So there's a lot of pitfalls out there and there's a lot of misinformation. Hopefully in the next 12 weeks, we're going to be able to cure a lot of that and get you everybody on the right track. The three things we're going to talk tonight about is about the hormonal effect of food. We're going to talk about walking and sleep rest cycles. And we're going to talk about the hormonal effect of exercise. So what can I expect from this course? Well, we're going to teach you the difference between fat loss versus weight loss. There's a significant difference there. We're going to talk to you about how you can increase and boost your energy and how we can reduce hunger and cravings. So what is traditionally taught? Most of the diet industry centers around eating less and exercising more to lose weight. Now, if this scenario worked, I'd be out of business and most doctors would have no patients. So we know that this doesn't work. If this worked, you wouldn't need me to tell you how to do it. So there's obviously something that's not working here. There's a disconnect. So what do? Well, I have 4 different scenarios we're going to talk about real quick. You can see 2 red flags and you can see 2 blue flags. The red flags mean danger and the blue flags mean success. So if we look at the bottom right-hand corner, it says eat less, exercise more. And that will decrease fat, but you're also going to decrease lean mass. And we know that's a problem because as we lose muscle mass or as we lose muscle, we're also going to decrease metabolism. We're going to throw our hormones off. Conversely, you could eat more and exercise more, and you would gain some muscle, but you'd also gain a lot of stored body fat. So we can agree these 2 scenarios aren't optimal. So let's look at the bottom left, the eat less, exercise less model. Now, what happens in the eat less, exercise less model? Well, we have fat loss. What else? Excuse me. What else is going on with the eat less, exercise less model? We're also helping to reduce stress hormone, balance out our blood sugar, and help us get into a fat loss metabolism. And if you look to the upper right, you see the eat more, exercise more model. And that's when we've been put in a fat loss scenario for about 4 weeks. We can now enter into this and we can start to increase lean mass while we still continue to lose body fat because we've put you already in a fat loss. So people say to me all the time, excuse me, I have to have a drink. There we go. That's better. You don't understand, Mike. I want to do both. I want to lose weight and gain. I want to lose weight and gain muscle at the same time. Well, what you've just described is something called metabolic multitasking, and it's a myth. The body can't do 2 things at the same time like that. It either wants to be in a fat burning metabolism or a muscle gaining metabolism, but it can't do both. The only way it can do both is to use performance enhancing drugs, which we're definitely not going to be talking about in this next 12 weeks. So trust me when I tell you that our goal is to get your hormones balanced, get your metabolic systems working, try to balance out your blood sugar, lose stored body fat, get you in a fat burning metabolism, and then we'd be in a position to add more tone and definition and muscle mass. So a lot of times people say, it's all about calories in, calories out. And we know that doesn't work either, because all people would have to do is just cut back on their calories and everything would be fine. But that's not how it works. Our body is a living, breathing entity that is mediated by hormones and enzymes. So your brain is a thermostat. It's not a bank. So what does that mean? Your body is going to react to the environment it finds itself in. So if you have a thermostat in your home and it's cold out tonight and you keep it set on 66, when the temperature in your home drops below 66 degrees, the heat comes on. So the thermostat is reacting to the environment. Conversely, if it was the summertime and you had it set at 66 and it got hotter than 66 degrees in the house, then the air conditioning would kick on. So our body has its own sensory organs and modes of sensory, and it's going to adapt to whatever environment it finds itself in. So let's talk a little bit about the yo-yo dieting that a lot of people do. And this has been going on for years as people have lost and gained the same 20 pounds, 20 times over the last 20 years. So what do they typically do? They eat less and they exercise more. Now, they will see some immediate weight loss. However, the metabolic rate starts to decrease. When the metabolic rate starts to decrease, we also start to throw off our hormones. And all of a sudden, we start having increased hunger and cravings with decreased energy. And the body can only adapt to that for a certain amount of time, and it won't tolerate it anymore. So what happens? People tend to overeat to compensate, and they start to exercise less because they lose motivation. Because when your energy goes down, you lose motivation to exercise. Next thing you have is a rebound weight gain. And people say, okay, I gained the weight back on, but this time it's going to work. So they go back and they do the same thing, and they have the same scenario happening over and over again, and they never quite lose the weight. So what do we teach? We teach balance your metabolism, and then you can have permanent weight loss. Now, how do you know your metabolism is balanced? Well, we're going to teach you an acronym. It's called HEC, hunger, energy, and cravings. We say, get your HEC in check. So we're going to talk a lot about HEC in check in the next couple of minutes. But once your HEC is in check and you balance out your metabolism, you'll naturally lower your caloric intake. This will be due to decreased hunger and cravings. And that'll help you to get lean and stay lean because your hormones and your blood sugar will be balanced. So what factors come into play with weight and regulating your weight? Well, in your hypothalamus, you have something called the weight regulating mechanism. In your hypothalamus, you also have the control center that controls blood pressure, heart rate, respiration, temperature of the body. All the control centers of the brain are in the hypothalamus. Well, one that also controls your weight, your ability to lose stored body fat or gain stored body fat, is also located in the hypothalamus. And there's 4 factors that affect the weight regulating. First one is food, chemicals, and additives. So if you're eating a lot of food that's highly processed, you're probably going to affect the weight regulating mechanism to make you store more fat. Exercise and movement and rest. Okay. Some exercise is good. Too much is going to throw your hormones off. Just like rest is needed for recovery. But if you have too much rest and you're not moving, again, that will affect the weight regulating mechanism and either have you gain weight or store weight or lose stored body fat. Stress plays a huge factor in this. Stress and lack of sleep all kind of go together. Now, when we talk about stress, there's a big difference between acute stress and chronic stress. Acute stress, we actually want to elicit. We're going to do that through our exercise using things like burst training and bringing you into temporary muscle failure, because that's going to facilitate the healing compounds being released and allowing you to increase things like testosterone, human growth hormone, all your tissue repair hormones. But chronic stress raises cortisol, and cortisol, when you combine that with insulin, which usually happens when people are stressed, what else do they usually eat? And that accelerates fat storage. And of course, making sure you have balanced blood sugar. If your blood sugar is very erratic, your body's going to sense that it's under duress and it's going to store more body fat. So when we start talking about nutrition, we start to talk about things like big rocks versus little rocks. Now, here you see a pail in the middle. Now, if you want to fill up this pail and you want to get the big rocks in, they need to go in first. In other words, they're the most important. After you put the big rocks in, then you put the little rocks in. And there'll still be some room for the pebbles. And of course, the sand will fill in all the cracks and crevices. So when we start talking about nutrition, we start to talk about getting the big rocks in first, then the little rocks, then the pebbles and the sand. So how does that break down? Well, the big rocks are things like protein, carbohydrates, and fats. These are known as your macronutrients. Okay, these are the things that you're eating in volume. You can see them, you can touch them, you can taste them. Okay, and we want to make sure that you have the proper allotment of protein, carbohydrates, and fats in your diet. Each food item has its own job in the body. So if we talk about protein, we talk about things like connective tissue, collagen, your immune system, your hemoglobin, of course, your muscles, your hormones, and your enzymes are all protein derivatives. Okay, so we have to make sure that we have a proper amount of protein in our diet. Carbohydrates breaks down to something called glucose or sugar. And the brain and nervous system can only use glucose for energy. So it's important that you have adequate blood sugar to keep your brain and nervous system functioning optimally. And then we have fats. Fats are also used for energy. It's an important muscle in the body that you use fats for is the heart. The heart is 100% oxidative. It burns fat. So isn't that great? The brain burns sugar and the heart burns fat. So there's no conflict of who's going to get the first dibs on what. Okay, so these are all very, very important. And again, the fat and the protein help to control the rate at which the carbohydrates enter into the system. So it's important that they're in the meals as well. The next little rocks are things like vitamins, minerals, water. We can also throw fiber in there too. And these are your micronutrients. These are the things you really can't see. I mean, you can see the fiber, I guess, in the water. But with vitamins and minerals, you really can't see them, but they're very, very important. These are facilitators. They help the protein, the carbohydrates, and the fats break down so the body can absorb them. Remember, it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. And, you know, we look, and we're going to get a lot into this over the next 12 weeks, but our digestive system technically is outside of our body. We basically have a tube that runs from the top to the bottom, and everything in that tube is considered to be outside of the body, right? So how do we draw nutrients from outside of the body from the GI tract, the stomach, the intestines, and so forth into the body? Well, we have microvilli that kind of go down into the GI tract, and with the right probiotics, the right microbes, the body is able to absorb nutrients from the food. And the vitamins and the minerals and the water and the fiber are essential in that happening. We're really not much different than a plant. A plant has roots that go into the soil, and it too needs the right microbes in order to absorb the nutrients from the soil. So it's pretty cool how our GI tract has roots just like a plant has roots. The next is supplements. We are big advocates of supplements because I do not believe that most people eat enough quality of greens, colored foods, and sulfur foods like mushrooms and garlic and onions to have optimal health and wellness. I also don't believe that they eat enough red meat because most people are avoiding red meat. And we know that beef has a lot of very good vitamins in it, especially B12. And grass-fed beef has saturated fat, which your brain and nervous system needs to function. We see a lot of neurological disease that can be directly correlated to the fact that people have cut saturated fats out of their diet. So we want you to have grass-fed beef. We want you to have wild-caught salmon. We want you to eat eggs. You know, we want you to have avocado. These are all very healthy saturated fats. And all the research that's coming out now has flip-flopped. We used to say avoid fat. That was the big thing in the 70s and the 80s, even into the 90s. And now what are the leading doctors coming out? Dr. Hyman, Dr. Perlmutter, Dr. Lustig. They're telling us these are the top researchers in the country. It's not the saturated fats that cause heart disease. It's the abundance of processed sugar. So what we teach is that with a good supplement program, you're going to be able to have optimal health and wellness because you're going to make sure that you're getting all the vitamins, minerals, and all the little phytofactors that you need. And it's very easy to take. And last but not least is free range, wild caught. Okay, that's very, very important too. We want to try to avoid GMOs when possible. So what happens when we eat less and we exercise more? Well, this is called the law of metabolic compensation. So you go ahead and you start decreasing your calories and you start exercising more. And now the food that you're eating does not meet the amount of activity the body is performing. So I want you to think of the Brielle, which is, for those people who aren't listening to me who live in New Jersey, Brielle is about 60 miles south of Manhattan. Okay, and let's say we wanted to go from Brielle to Manhattan, and your car gets 10 miles to the gallon. Okay, 60 miles away, and you're in a car that gets 10 miles to the gallon with gas, and I put 2 gallons of gas in your car. Are you going to get to the city? No, you're not going to. So what makes you think that your body can do what your car can't? In other words, you're asking your body to do more work, but you're giving it less fuel. Doesn't work that way. Okay, that's where the law of metabolic compensation comes in. So your body will naturally start to decrease the metabolic rate to compensate for the amount of food that you're getting. Okay, another scenario I like to use and how the body wants to conserve energy is now we're in the winter time. And a couple of years ago, we had a horrible snowstorm here. We had 3 feet of snow, and there were people who got stuck out on Route 18. Again, Route 18 is a major thoroughfare not too far from Brielle. So these people got stuck and they called on their cell phone. They asked for help, and they said, well, help won't arrive for about 12 hours. Okay, well, you're in the middle of a snowstorm. So if you only had 6 hours worth of gasoline in your car, you can't just run the engine. You'd run out of gas, and after 6 hours and help's not coming for a while, eventually you'd get pretty cold. You might even freeze to death, right? So what would you do? Well, you'd start the car up, get it warm, and then you'd shut it off to try to conserve energy. And then when it gets really cold and you can't take it anymore, you might start the car back up again and run until it gets warm and then shut it off again. Well, your body's going to do the same thing. It's going to shut down so that it can conserve energy because it sees a lack of fuel. Remember, when you're eating proper meals, your body thinks you're prospering. And if you're prospering, it'll let you burn fat. If it's in a stress mode and feels like you're in danger, it's going to start to store as much body fat as it can get its hands on because it knows that you're probably going to be in a famine situation. So with that happening, again, with metabolic compensation, we know that your hunger and cravings are going to go up and your energy is going to drop. And when your energy drops, you lose motivation to exercise. So you start to get weight regain and overcompensation. Okay, so that's bad, but get worse. So what else can happen? Well, the next step after metabolic compensation is something called metabolic resistance. And this is after chronic low-calorie diets and extreme exercise, weight loss plateaus, and hunger and cravings increase while energy decreases. So people naturally reduce the calories even more because they're not losing weight. I gotta cut my calories down even more. So when they do that, it makes the metabolic resistance even worse. And now we're starting to see changes in brain chemistry, stress, moodiness, fatigue, and hormonal imbalances. So you have decreased motivation and decreased self-confidence. So you can see we're starting to go down the rabbit hole even deeper. And here's the third stage. And this is a stage where Susan and I start to see clients coming in, and we realize that this is where medical intervention comes in. Okay, because we don't pretend to be doctors. And if we need to refer someone out, we certainly will. But let me say this. Everything you see on the screen here can be corrected with diet, exercise, hydration, proper exercise, and rest. So the cure is not more pills or more medication. We send people to physicians because we're not going to be responsible if any of these conditions worsen. However, you still need to get back into what's going to help you get well. You know what? In a couple calls, I'm going to try to bring up some of Dr. Wall's protocols. Dr. Wall's was a physician who was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and it got worse and worse, and she kept being medicated. She was on some different medications, and they tried different trials on her. They tried all kinds of things with her, and it got so bad she ended up going to what's called a zero gravity chair. A zero gravity chair is what they put someone in who has no abdominal control in order to be able to sit up on their own. So that's how bad it got. So being a physician, she said to herself, well, I'm not getting any better. This medication is not working. So I have to start looking somewhere else. So what do we do to get people well? Well, we start to look at their diet. And she started to eat 3 cups of green vegetables a day. And that would be things like broccoli and spinach and kale and collards. And then she'd eat colored fruits and vegetables, things like carrots and beets and parsnips and blueberries and raspberries and so forth. And she would also eat 3 cups of sulfur vegetables. That would be things like garlic and mushrooms and onions. And she started to eat a lot of saturated fats, things like grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, eggs, avocado. And she healed her body to the point where she could get out of the chair. And then once she got out of the chair, she started with a simple walking program, because she also realized that MS affected her mitochondria. And the only way you get those mitochondria to start to proliferate, get stronger and thicker, is to feed them and give them a reason to grow, and that's exercise. Mitochondria, just so you know, are the powerhouse of the cell. It's like a small engine within the cell. Okay, and the engine gets stronger by exercising it and feeding it properly. So with that being said, we look at things like metabolic damage, things like adrenal fatigue, polycystic ovarian syndrome, digestive issues, poor growth of hair, skin, and nails, autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis, MS, lupus, leukopenia. I have another friend who's going to be joining us on these calls, and I'm going to ask her if I can put her testimonial up. And she successfully got off of all her medication for rheumatoid arthritis, and she also had Crohn's disease. And by proper nutrition and exercise, she no longer takes her medication. So I'm going to ask her if she wouldn't mind me sharing that with the group down the road. Muscle wasting increases and body fat increases. And of course, we have adrenal fatigue, hypothyroidism, and mitochondrial disease. So what's the solution? Well, we proposed the 12-week Eat Clean and Get Lean coaching program. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to start with nutrition. The first 4 weeks, we're going to do something called a 3-2-1. There's going to be 3 meals a day. We're going to do 2 protein shakes and 1 whole food meal. The protein shakes, we're going to teach you how to build the protein shakes. It's very, very simple. It's very easy to use. I have an office with no blender and no refrigerator, and I do 2 protein shakes a day. So if I can do it, you can do it. Okay. Some people are going to say, listen, Mike, that's great. I need to crunch on something probably at lunchtime. All right, we'll teach you how to make a salad with protein and healthy fats that will mimic a protein shake. But I'm going to tell you, the protein shakes help because they also help to curb hunger and cravings, especially with the way we teach you. A whole food meal has protein, a healthy fat, fibrous carbohydrates. We're going to break down all these kind of different foods down the road, so just stick with me. And we're going to put a starch in the evening. Starch could be brown rice, sweet potato, quinoa, oatmeal. But we're going to teach you how to design these meals. So about the protein shakes, well, what do we need protein for? Well, protein builds muscle, immune system, hormones, enzymes, collagen, red blood cells. I talked about this earlier. Protein can be broken down into glucose if needed. However, we really don't want that to happen. So in our shakes, we're going to add something called branched chain amino acids. And it's added to the shake to spare valuable body proteins. So you don't break down your body proteins. The body, if it needs sugar, it'll break down the branched chain amino acids. The fiber in these shakes aids in digestion and being satiated along with the protein. And we're going to add cacao to the shake because it helps to stabilize brain chemistry. Cacao helps to build serotonin and dopamine levels, which are very, very important to keeping your mood well balanced. The whole food meal design is a lean source of protein, a fibrous carbohydrate. Fibrous carbohydrate is a thing like cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, green beans, that sort of thing. A healthy fat could be in the protein. For example, if you're eating a well-marbled grass-fed steak, which is beef, that's a healthy source of fat. Or if you're eating wild-caught fish like salmon, there's a healthy source of fat there. If you're eating something very lean like turkey or chicken, we may add avocado to it, or we may add a nice healthy salad and put a oil in it, like an olive oil in it. Why is that so important? It helps to feed the brain and nervous system, which facilitates restful sleep. Okay, so with the first 4 weeks, we're also going to do a 3-2-1 with exercise. You're going to do 2 strength training routines, which I'll teach you how to do. And you're going to do 1 hour of walking a day. And that is going to be critical to your success. Everyone who has added walking to their program has had tremendous success in this program. It's got to be consistent and persistent, an hour a day. So why are we doing resistance training? Well, performing resistance training, and we want to perform it to the temporary muscle failure. You don't have to wait anymore. And that causes the production of lactic acid. Now, lactic acid is the key that unlocks the door to all the healing compounds, such as testosterone, human growth hormone, and other tissue repair hormones. It also helps with mitochondrial proliferation. Working to temporary muscle failure sends very strong signals to the brain, increasing the number, the size, and the function of the mitochondria in your cell. Now remember, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell where fat and oxygen are burned. So the more mitochondria you have in your cells and the more efficient the mitochondria are, and the more robust they are, you'll burn more fat, more oxygen. Okay. Ooh, I like the way that Susan had that segue in. What else are we going to do in the first 4 weeks? We're going to start to teach you to relax and rest. We're going to do restorative activities like taking a massage, getting a massage, laughter, reading, intimacy, going out with your family and your friends, enjoying yourself. You need to have restorative activities. You know what really works good is a lot of people now are taking baths in Epsom salts. Really works to get the body to start to heal itself. Remember, we want to balance hormones this first 4 weeks. Okay, the 1 hour of walking daily helps to balance stress hormones of cortisol and adrenal hormones and reduces the incidence of adrenal fatigue. It helps to balance insulin and blood sugar levels and is genetically instinctual as opposed to jogging, which for most people increases cortisol, causes blood sugar instability, and increases adrenal hormones. Get to week 5, that's when we start to move into the eat more, exercise more model. Again, I don't want to put the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse, rather. We're not ready for that now, but I'm just letting you know that that would be coming in week 5. And now that the hormones have been reset and fat-burning metabolism is in place, now we add more food and more exercise because now we're into lean mass building. And what do we do from weeks 6 through 12? Well, that all depends. And that's where the coaching comes in. What you do moving forward will be between you and I. And I have a nice testimonial here, someone who went through our program before, and they were kind enough to let us use this testimonial. And this is from a good friend of ours, Debbie. And she wrote, I just put away my 12s, 10s, and most of my 8s thanks to KM Fitness. For the past 2 years, I've been working hard to lose the 30 pounds I put on since my 43rd birthday. In April, I had lost most of it, but was stuck with more to lose to really fit into my clothes and feel comfortable. Since working with KM Fitness, I have dropped 7 pounds since April, but more importantly, I went from 25% body fat down to 20.3% body fat, and I'm the fittest I've been in 16 years. The best part is that the nutrition plan feels like a new way of living for me, definitely not a diet. I feel like I can continue on without a problem. I've established the habits I need to maintain this weight and to keep improving. I don't feel hungry all the time, and when I am hungry, I eat lots of good food that is fueling my workouts and keeping my energy up. My hunger, energy, cravings, my heck are in check. So let's just wrap this up. Let me tell you how the program works. You're going to get 12 weeks of coaching. That's 12 weeks of weekly webinar coaching, which will cover nutrition, lifestyle, and specific exercise protocols. We have a private Facebook page for daily questions. You can shoot us messages on Facebook at any time, and we'll be there to answer them for you. You're going to get daily educational emails. You're also going to get your metabolic and brain chemistry assessment with a personalized report outlining your nature and deficiency. So for those people who are listening to me for the second time, Susan sent you this email. Go ahead and fill them out, and she'll get them back to you. You're going to get weekly scheduled recipes and workouts explaining what to do for that week. We'll have exercise PDFs and video instruction, and it also includes 1-year membership for our online portal, the RX Studio. RX Studio has everything we've ever put out there on a video, any PDF we've ever done, any program we've done. So even long after this program is over, we have the female fat loss program in there. I have my cholesterol program in there. I have my golf conditioning program in there. It's a tremendous value. We value this at well over $700. Our normal price is $249, but if you sign up tonight, you're going to be able to get it for $99. And that's about the best we can do, and still keep it legitimate, because this is tremendous, tremendous value. Susan and I have spent hundreds of hours and literally tens of thousands of dollars developing this program over the years. We want to offer it to you. We want to help you to become successful. So I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. I'm going to get out of this page and go back into my Google Hangout. And I'm going to go back to the chat box here. Okay, great. Yep, I was a member of this. Okay, I'm answering questions now. I was a member of this program several months ago and had tremendous success. Should I join again? Well, absolutely. We'd love to have you back. It's very important that you stay consistent and persistent. And if you feel that this coaching over the next 12 weeks is going to help you to achieve your goal for the summer, please join us. Now, if you were a member, obviously you still have access to the RX Studio, but moreover, most people who are doing this is because they really want the coaching and they want the accountability on a week-to-week basis. So we'd love to have you back. Next question. If this is an online program, where can I get my questions answered every day? Okay, I just touched base on that. You know that you're going to be able to access us by Facebook on a moment-by-moment basis. Now, Susan and I do check Facebook many times during the day. A lot of times we'll check in between clients. So it's a great opportunity to get your questions answered. In a group this small, we don't usually do email, but under the situation, I will answer email questions. However, I must tell you, I check my email about twice a day. So if you have a question about a lunch or a meal coming up, you're much better putting it in Facebook. You're going to get an answer right away, where you might ask me a question at 10 o'clock in the morning. And if it's an email, I may not check it. I may give you an answer till 8 o'clock that night. Okay. Next, would you recommend this program to a senior citizen? Absolutely. There is, you could do this program at 10 years old. You can do this program at 90 years old, because we're going to make it such that it'll conform to anybody's lifestyle. It doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, as we get older, there's a much better chance that we do need to reconcile some type of chronic illness. So I definitely would recommend this for a senior citizen. Okay. I really like to jog, but it makes me really hungry. Won't I feel? I'm trying to read this. I'm sorry. I really like to jog, but it makes me really hungry. Won't I feel hungry on this? Okay. Well, here's the situation. We kind of covered, what we would like to do. We really would prefer that you don't jog for the first 4 weeks at least. Give yourself the opportunity to do the weight training and the walking and working on the food and the restorative exercise like we teach you. If you feel like you must jog, I'm not going to tell you not to, but let's weigh out what it is that you're trying to accomplish in the next 12 weeks. If it's your goal to lose stored body fat and gain lean mass and balance your hormones and reconcile any kind of chronic illness, I think we really need to take that time off. And the truth of them is that if you give this an opportunity, you might like what we're doing better than what you're currently doing, especially if it really makes you hungry. Okay, so why don't we just try doing this for the first 4 weeks and see where we go? And again, this is a coaching program, so you're going to be able to ask me questions as we go along. I don't see any other questions here tonight. Pop-ins, okay.
You can make your offer.
Okay, so click on this.
Offer, yes.
And display offer, okay. Put it up there. Susan's coaching me through this, guys, so it's not coming up yet. Give me a moment.
Okay, good. So the pop-in is...
Oh, there it goes. It just came up. All right, so you should be able to scroll down.
On their screen, they'll see an add to cart.
Yep. Ah, okay, great. On your screen, you're going to see an add to cart. So if you're with us for the first time and you like what you've seen and you want to add this into your cart so that you could start with us on the 12-week program, you just click on that. It'll take you to our PayPal where you can go ahead and use your credit card, or if you have PayPal dollars, I guess you could use that too. And you can go ahead and sign up for the Eat Clean, Get Lean program for the next 12 weeks.
And you'll get back immediately from me with an email on how to get started.
Right. Susan will get back to you immediately with an email on how to get started. Okay. So I have nothing else to add tonight unless there's more questions that come up. I'm going to run up back to my chat box here. And I want to thank Susan tremendously for helping me to orchestrate this. I'm the one with the big mouth, but Susan does all the back office stuff. She puts together these presentations for me so they look so nice and they move so nice through. And she is here administrating as I go through the program. So I could not do this without her. So I want to thank her very, very much. We will begin Wednesday night with the first live call, and that will be week 1, session 1 of the Eat Clean, Get Lean program. You will definitely get a very good understanding from the quick start guide that you're going to get after you sign up for the program. You will get your forms to fill out with regards to the metabolic quiz and the brain chemistry quiz. You'll start going out and knowing what to buy. You got to get your food ready. You got to get your branched chain amino acid. You got to get your protein powder. And again, we'll be building this week by week. So it's very, very important that you go out and get your shopping done before we start on Wednesday night, because the food is really critical to this program, and having a well-stocked refrigerator and cabinet is essential. Okay. And if you don't have a good pair of sneakers, go out and get one, because you're going to be doing a lot of walking. Susan's giving me the head shake. She feels good. I feel we're in a good place. Guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your night to come out and join us. I know a lot of you are not watching the national championship football game, unless you have a DVR like me and you DVR'd it. So I'm going to go watch a little football. Have a great night, and hopefully I see everybody on Wednesday night. Take care, and God bless. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.